going on, YouTubers?
And we are not crabbing bum!
So,
I hate everything. Hey, YouTubers. Welcome to Alyx Man's channel. I'm here too.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live review from your boy, Alyx Man. And I am joined here by the very unique personality that I have with me, one of my Patreon guests, and I want to thank him for donating to helping my cause. But please, man, introduce yourself.
I like your show. Greetings, everyone. Greetings, everyone. I'm Luna Corver. You might have interacted with me chat, making comments on Alyx Man's YouTube channel, also known as Shay Holmes. So, hi, everyone.
Luna Corva, man. I'll tell you what, man, I'm glad to have you here because I think what we're going to bring to the table is more of a story-based review. I think we have one of those creative booking minds that like to dissect matches and really go into, okay, where is this going to lead? Instead of just, this was a good match.
Yeah, in very much in the story stuff, I definitely like to think about that. Then again, I'll also be talking about some spots in the match. But before we go into the match stuff, can I just say two things?
Go right ahead, man.
First, for the benefit of you guys in the chat, Alyx Man and I were just discussing this before. You've probably going to have a lot of things you want to say, questions you want to ask Alyx Man, possibly even me. But while we're going on our big rants, just don't put anything in the chat because we're likely to miss it. So after we've discussed the match, we'll pause and look at the chat. So post your comments or questions then. That way we'll have a better chance of reading it.
Yeah, because we want to actually, we do here on my channel, we like to interact with the people who actually come on here. So he would think it would be better if you guys would comment at least after we do segments of each match. So then we'll read your comments then and then interact with you more. So I like it. I think that's cool with me. And before we get started, let me get this out the way myself. As always, like me on Facebook, subscribe, like me here on YouTube, and of course, donate to my Patreon if you would also like to contribute to the cause of helping improving the viewing experience here on Alyx Man. But before we get started, anything else you want to say to the fans, man?
First of all, well, thanks for supporting his channel. Without you supporting his channel, probably wouldn't go big enough to the point where he could reliably use a Patreon, and I wouldn't have a chance to show up. So thank you for helping me feed my ego. However, I do have something I want to say to you.
What's that?
It's not NXT related, so I thought I'd say it now. About the whole Diamond Cutter versus RKO thing. Those two moves are actually not the same. There is a subtle but distinct difference.
He has a point.
The RKO is a jumping cutter. You'll see it like with the Diamond Cutter, it's just grab, drop. Whereas the RKO, he jumps up, drops him down. And it's because of that added momentum and speed that I find the RKO to be the better move. It adds more impact, and it's also harder to counter because he's doing a sudden movement where often you'll see with DDP, he grabs him, holds him for a bit, then drops him, which gives him more time to, get out of it.
Right, and the Diamond Cutter actually has more impact because of what he just said. He actually has time to grab and have more force because he's already on his feet, which makes it a little bit more distinctive.
I would actually say the RKO has more impact because, you're jumping using the full weight of your body to drag the guy down from an elevated height.
Oh, well, that makes sense, too. I guess they both can have enough impact depending on how it's executed. But I have no issues with whatever move is better because I love both of them. But me personally, I'm a Diamond Cutter kind of guy. DDP is my guy. Yeah. I like him better. But,
heck,
man, go ahead.
I was going to say, the rest... See, you're mentioning e-wrestling when you said your W doesn't tell stories anymore. I'm an e-wrestling guy myself. The guy created there pretty much uses an elevated rolling cut. It's like, the Crossroads, except he actually lifts them up similar to the Saving Grace and spins and drops them.
There's a lot of discussions
I'm a big fan of cutters.
I am too. But dude, man, let's talk about NXT Brooklyn. And I'm gonna go ahead first. Let's go ahead and give us our You all right?
I had a pad of notes. I'll just grab that in case I don't miss anything.
And we're back. So, guys, here we go. My final thoughts, my full thoughts on the show. Let me just go ahead and start off by saying I went into this show already expecting it to be a good show because of the hype. One thing NXT does that WWE doesn't do is that it tells stories, it builds to their matches, it has characters, and it makes you care. But
and not only that, it builds every match. It doesn't just, have, here's our main event and, well, here's some other stuff maybe. Every match is given hype. Every match is once like, okay, I'm actually interested in seeing what happens here.
And again, it's one of those things you have to go, what really is the main roster here? Is it Raw or is it NXT? Because clearly the better show based off of my eyes is NXT. And it proves, and it was proven here tonight. NXT in Brooklyn was a great, great show. Top to bottom. Not one.
Yeah.
Not one bad match. In my opinion, not one bad match. I enjoyed everything, all of them. They brought it. I'm going to say this was their first NXT special to go live on the network, if I'm not mistaken. Is it?
I mean, all the specials were live.
No, excuse me. Live outside of Full Sail. I meant like in Brooklyn.
Yeah, all their specials have been Full Sail.
Yeah, I should have.
This was like the big. This was the big test for NXT. Can they extend to Brooklyn, or are they just a cult following? Like, nope, they definitely can get the large audience.
Yeah, this was the implication of them showing that they're not just some fad wrestling group, that's only popular with a short amount of people. No, they're popular wherever they go.
And I'll bring that up when I get to one specific match.
Well, Luna Carver, let me get your full thoughts on the show yourself, man. How did you feel about it?
Really enjoyed it. Could I just hold on a second? I'm suddenly getting a phone call.
And he will be right back, guys.
Real sorry, guys. Good thing I got the wireless headset.
That's cool. He has a wireless headset. I need to give you one of those. That's really awesome.
Okay, missed the call, so sorry about that. Wow, I'm organized and professional.
Overall thoughts on NXT, man?
Where are we? Huh? Yeah, overall thoughts on NXT. Really just a fun show. It was a show that had just a lot of energy. That's all I can really say about it. It was fun.
And that's all it needs to be, right? Just a fun wrestling show, because wrestling's supposed to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry. I'll get into more detailed thoughts in a bit. So don't think it's just going to be Miss Me saying, yeah, it was good. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
I do want to talk about really quickly.
Oh, you were saying?
I want to talk about the opening really quickly because apparently the show opened up with Triple H in the dark, and he was talking about NXT was once developmental, but now it's on its own brand, and the future is now. It's dark. The lights come on, the crowd goes crazy, and NXT in Brooklyn is here.
Yep.
It was almost ruined by a few assholes doing some cat calls because apparently the crowd was supposed to be silent. There was supposed to be no noise, and he told them this before the show started. And then when he actually said that, it was supposed to erupt. So I do wish it would have been like that, but not going to complain too much. It's in Brooklyn. We got those kind of fans. I just kind of feel like that would have been more poetic if they would have just did what they're told to do. You know what I'm saying?
You learn to improvise.
Yeah, he handled it. It's not a big deal. I just feel like, man, a couple of assholes. But, dude, let's talk about the first match. Jushin Thunder Liger versus Tyler.
What I really liked about this match is the way that Jushin Liger pretty much dominated Tyler in the early parts of the match in a very technical way. It's the classic, this guy's old veteran, so he knows tricks that the young upstart doesn't, and he's pretty much schooling the rookie.
And did he school him pretty well? Man, when we talk about Jushin Thunder Liger, this guy's been wrestling for decades. This guy has been doing it for a while. And we're talking about someone...
This is actually my first exposure to Jushin Thunder Liger, so it was in for me seeing him.
Yeah, man. I kind of feel like I think Tyler Breeze got the most out of it, and we'll talk about the finish of it in a second. But in terms of the match itself, crowd was hot for it. I was hot for it. They worked well with each other. Tyler Breeze had an excellent entrance. I love him coming out with those.
About that entrance.
What's that?
I must report a moment of tragedy. And ladies and gentlemen, and Delexmen, I would like you to all join me in a moment of silence as we mourn the loss of Tyler Breeze's fashion sense. What the hell was with those costumes? Empire State hat? What were you thinking, Breeze? Are you this cruel to women? Why? So, returning to the match itself, yeah, I was really interested. I really like that backbreaker thing that Tyler Breeze did to Jushin, that double knee side-along backbreaker.
Yeah, they all both of them had their moments in the match. I like that move you just said, and I don't know the surfboards that he did. He is the master of the surfboard, and every time he does it, it just looks so awesome. So,
Actually, question: are you seeing anything on the chat? Because for me, the chat is looking empty.
Well, I'm looking on the YouTube page, and I have some people commenting on the YouTube page. So,
oh, okay. I was looking at the group chat on the blah thing, the Google Plus thing. Might send link to the YouTube thing.
No problem. You might have to turn down the volume when you get it. It's just, dude, yes. Like I said, it's one of those things about Google Plus that's just we're gonna have to work with. But fun match, fun opener. I had no issues with it, and quite frankly, guys, it was a great way to start up the show. How do you feel about Tyler Breeze not picking up the win and Liger winning the match?
It disappointed. Yep, just oops. Yeah, just pausing the Google Plus. Sorry, the YouTube thing. Anyway, to answer your question, I actually, I was a little disappointed with Tyler Breeze losing, but at the same time, I can also kind of see it's like by letting Jushin Thunder Liger win, it's like, okay, it shows you're treating him as a proper deal, and he might be more willing to work with you in future. So from a management perspective, it's a good long-term plan, and it does not really hurt Tyler Breeze to lose to Jushin. Speaking of which, that's one thing I like about NXT. They treat other companies as important. They don't do the WE thing where it's like, well, you haven't rested here, therefore you haven't accomplished anything. Ring of Honor, Japan, hell, even WCW, they're rival for so long. Stars from those shows are treated as big deals.
And they should be, I don't know why Vince McMahon has this tunnel, very close-minded, universal, one world mentality with wrestling that the only thing that matters is WWE. And that's just, I don't see how a man like that could be as big as he is and think that there's only one wrestling company that matters. And I love that Triple H is expanding our world of wrestling outside of just NXT. And that's really one of the things that, again, we praise NXT for being a good wrestling company. That's one of the elements about it that make it awesome. People outside the business can come in and wrestle here, and it feels a lot more special. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Also, still not seeing the chat on the YouTube thing, but lag.
I have
comment section of kind of always can be seen, of course, but the actual chat feed I'm not seeing.
Yeah, that's weird too. Well, hopefully it gets better over time. You might have to keep refreshing it until it pops up. But let's go and move on to the next match. That was a good, fun opener. The crowd was hot for it. Let's talk about the NXT Tag Team Championship match. We have the Vaudevillians versus Blake and Murphy. What were you going to say?
Now, here is where I want to return again to the size of the Brooklyn crowd. You see, with the Vaudevillians, one of the most common criticisms that they've been getting over the years is that while their gimmick is fun, it's too silly to be taken. It's too silly for a mainstream audience. They're a comedy thing. They might work for a small group like Full Sail, who's willing to, give everyone a chance. But for a big crowd, they're not going to get over. They proved them wrong here. The crowd was fully behind the Vaudevillians.
And I will happily admit I was one of those people, and I ate a lot of crow. I had a plate of crow right here, and I just stuffed my face with it after the Vaudevillians showed me how they were able to take a crowd like Brooklyn and just win over the crowd. Before we get into the match, let's talk about the story of this match. Apparently, Vaudevillians can't hit women because of chivalry, which makes a lot of sense. That's their character.
Definitely.
They had a plan to take care of Alexa Bliss, and that plan was who?
Blue Pants!
Leva Bates, aka Blue Pants, and the crowd erupted for her. It was a great sight, and it's a great combination.
Isn't it poetic that the advantage of the Dubstep Cowboys was taken away by a member of Team Soft's singing? Da 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 da. I can just imagine Blake and thinking, even when we're not fighting those two, they're still pissing us off.
Right? They can't get away from Soft. They're always finding a way to screw them over. That's too funny.
I really enjoy the rivalry. And well, I said, at first I was thinking, the Dubstep arsehole should win because, it should be Dubstep Cowboys versus... Yes, I'm going to change between Dubstep Cowboys and Dubstep arseholes interchangeably. I mean, the same thing, really. But anyway, it should be the Dubstep Cowboys versus Team Soft for the championship because that's the real rivalry. But making the fact that it's actually the Vaudevillians, the champions, it leads to a storyline I always really like, especially in competition-based stuff like this, where before facing the champion, the protagonist in, the semi-finals or, right before has to overcome a personal challenge. So it's like before they can face before they can go into the main event against the technically better stars, the Team Soft will have to overcome their personal demons in beating Blake and Murphy, their rivals who they haven't been able to beat. And that's always a storyline I really love.
Yeah, man, and I think both of them, both Simon Gotch and Aiden English, they've been working hard. They have gone through so many gimmicks to get to this point, and I'm happy for them because they finally found something they can work with and they can go far with. I think, first off, the match itself, very solid match, very fun match. All participants did
really enjoy Simon Gotch's creativity in the ring. Like people always talk about, innovative offense. Simon Gotch is the one I feel it really does apply. I mean, he's not, over the top high fly, but just the twist he put on just very simple moves. It's just so enjoyable. It's like, what? I never thought of doing something like that.
And that always kind of works when you have someone like him, who has this, I don't know what you call this kind of gimmick. I'm just like 1900s kind of
a circusy gimmick, I would say.
Yeah, circusy kind of gimmick. It's really cool, but he's playing it to
halfway between circus and halfway between tie woman to the train tracks villain. Wait, weren't they supposed to be chivalrous again? It's like, Alexa Bliss, we shall not hit you. Fortunately, we have rope.
I don't know, man, but the match was awesome. But at the end of the day, we have new NXT Tag Team Champions. Great. I think both Simon Gotch and Aiden English are going to be great competitors for that division. And it is also announced, getting away from the match real quickly, that William Regal is holding a tournament with, if I'm not mistaken, new tag teams, and of course the tag teams we have right now.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure we have enough tag teams to form a tournament.
No. He's gonna bring in some new tag teams to help the tournament out, which I'm excited about.
Yes, one of the things I like about the tag teams in NXT is that the teams feel like actual teams. Not only they gel together, but the characters, they have a bond. They're genuinely true companions. The problem with a lot of tag teams in the past, it's just been, are you doing anything? No. Are you doing anything? No. All right, put you on a team. I think the best example of this was, Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. I mean, they made it work, but again, the thing was just, well, we got nothing for you. Let's just throw you together in a team. With the NXT tag teams, they feel like actual teams.
Right. They're put together because their personalities mesh well. They have a story behind them, or maybe they just have a common goal. Whatever the case is, they have synergy. They actually work together, and we believe them to be teams. And we're gonna get more of that hopefully when this tournament starts. And the fact that the Vaudevillians are tag team champions, I think we're in for a good few weeks of NXT when it comes to the tag team division. You know what I'm saying?
They are definitely entertaining. Also, I've said this before and I'll say it again, Chad Gable is creepy as fuck. I mean, it was cute. The whole, Reddy, William, and Gable was cute at first. But when you go to but then he went from cute to, okay, now you're not just not taking a hint here. And then when he went from that to writing his name on Jason Jordan's locker room, now you've officially entered into stalker territory. So I'm really hoping that team doesn't last because that is full of unfortunate implications.
I don't know. I think Chad Gable is like, I wouldn't compare him to Kurt Angle exactly, but he kind of has a Kurt Angle feel to him. I really like the guy. He's really cool.
Oh, I definitely like him as a talent. Just the character is creepy.
Yeah. One more thing before we go on. Go ahead.
I was going to say, that's the other half of the team. I really do I feel that Jason is like the modern day Shelton Benjamin. Just this, might not have a big character, but he's just this great athlete.
Jason Jordan, I feel like has a lot more to brings a lot more to the table than what he's letting on. I think when he first started, I did feel that Shelton Benjamin vibe. But I think what he's doing right now is scaling back until a big moment happens because he can jump off the ropes and do all kinds of crazy stuff. So I believe you.
He gives this feel of he could be a badass. A lot of people have, got the idea that the guys who can work but not really, do well on the mic, they shouldn't hold the championship. But the guys like they could, even though they might not win the championship, they still should be given a shot in a main event picture because they can carry a great match.
Yeah, unfortunately, main roster doesn't think that way. Main roster's like, hey, let's give the belt to John Cena, and that's all that matters.
Good thing we're not on the main roster.
Not right now, we're not, unfortunately. But ready to move on to the next match?
NXT should stay away from the main roster. Now, yes, next match. I believe that was the debut of Apollo Crews.
Why, yes, it's the debut of Mr. Apollo Crews and the Perfect 10. Tyler Breeze, that's not him. Ty Dillinger, excuse me. Although Tyler Breeze is a Perfect 10 in his own way. But anyways, guys, this match...
he's a gorgeous 10.
Gorgeous 10 works also. But anyways, this match, I loved every single aspect. I love both of these guys. And believe it or not, before
I have a bone to pick with you.
What's that?
You told us about how deceptively agile Apollo Crews was. You told us about how explosive he was. However, what you did not tell us is that he's basically the black male Bayley.
Why would you say that, sir?
when he comes out to the ring, just that overjoyed, I'm here, I finally made it. That's me. Dude, I immediately like you because you are freaking adorable. And when he does that Stinger's button, goes like, woohoo! Yeah, he's pretty much the male Bayley.
Guys, it's like I said in my preview. Apollo Crews is Bobby Lashley with a backflip, with a moonsault, with better athleticism and better microphone skills. So he's pretty much Bobby Lashley done right, if anything else.
Yeah, that triple backflipping he does, that was great.
Dude, this entire match, I really, really like this match from the beginning to end. I honestly feel like both of these guys, not just Apollo Crews, who was the highlight of the match, definitely. Both Ty Dillinger and Apollo Crews have a long way to go. They're going to go long. They're going to go far in WWE. They're just really awesome talent. But let's just talk about the matches.
The cool thing is, we thought that, when Ty Dillinger split off from Jason Jordan, we thought he was going to be the Marty Jannetty, that he was going to be the, oh, well, he's going nowhere guy. Nope. Yeah. Now, two small spots from Ty Dillinger that I liked during this match were, one, the crowd with the super, blocks and then just kicks him again. It's like quick thinking there. The other thing is the way he sold that Enziguri when it's just clutching the side of his head in pain, because you don't see people sell a kick to the head like that. Most of the time, the actors that, knock them out. Here, he's more just selling the pain of being smacked across the face. So I like that. It's something different.
Yeah, man. These two do something that, again, we don't see on the main roster. They know what their strengths are. Ty Dillinger is a character. And when we see that character do a cartwheel and then go 10, and one thing we didn't see this week, because one thing on NXT that I really liked is that when he actually did something cool, there was a front row of people holding up 10s. I wish we had that.
Yeah. Oh, there was a front row of people holding up 10s in Brooklyn.
Oh, there was? I didn't see it.
Yeah, you saw it during the entrance.
No, I was talking about during the match when he would do it and they would hold up 10s.
All right,
I meant like that.
Good point. They should have had that in Brooklyn. Shame
But
on you, Booker. Shame on you, production staff. Shame on you.
But yeah, guys, man, when you have a guy like Apollo Crews, though, who can go out there and just do all this crazy athletic feats, whether it's lifting you up and power slamming you, and then following up with a goddamn standing backflip moonsault, that was just gorgeous. And then he wins the match with that. Let me ask you this, man. Let me ask you this, because I really want to know how you feel about the idea of Apollo Crews being a future champion in WWE.
He really should be. In the short while, though, I'd really like to see him in a feud with Samoa Joe. Because to me, those two have a very similar style. They're both big men who are deceptively agile. So I really think those two could gel very well together. And the story I'm thinking about it would be Samoa Joe pretty much acting like a threshold guy. It's like, okay, you're good, kid, but if you really want to prove yourself, you're going to have to go through me. And until you do, I will show you absolutely no quarter.
Oh, man. It's just... First off, that match is a great idea. I think eventually we will do that match, especially if Joe turns heel. That would be a really good match to have. But for me, Apollo Crews, this guy makes me want... This is something else we can talk about. This guy makes me wish they had another belt, like a mid-card NXT championship belt. I don't know, like we can call it the junior heavyweight championship.
Yeah, I was thinking that same thing too. They need to have a secondary title.
Yeah, like a belt for someone like a Tyler Breeze or an Apollo Crews or one of those, undercard kind of guys to fight for. I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, the good thing is that with NXT, they give it the proper respect.
You know what? I just love this company, man. Let's go straight to the next match. You ready to talk about the next one?
Which one's the next one again?
Next one is Samoa Joe versus Baron Corbin.
Really, I'm not going to talk too much about Samoa Joe because, well, Samoa Joe does a good job. That's like saying when you get hit by a truck, it hurts. So let's get the opposite of the way. I was definitely impressed with Baron Corbin. I think the biggest problem that the NXT audience has had with Baron Corbin is not that, he's been winning a lot, but more he's been winning a lot and he seems incredibly green. Here, you can see he is definitely improving. He's trying his hardest and he's even doing new stuff, like with the, that leg lock he put in.
Yeah, the heel hook looked really nice, by the way. That was really well done.
Yeah. And in terms of submission holds, the way that the choke bomb was countered, kicked out and then countered immediately into that that choke hold. That what's it called? What's the proper name for it?
Coheela clutch. Excuse me.
Coheela clutch.
Yeah.
Coheela clutch. Yeah, counting to Coheela. That was like really good, really quick. Quick countering, quick offense.
Man.
So I like that. Now,
I guess
for a bit of a.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just for a bit of a fun fact here. Do you know that for quite a while, there was a big fan theory that Baron Corbin was actually a werewolf?
You're joking.
No, I'm not.
Really?
No, I'm not. You can look up his character page on TV Tropes. I'll send you a link if you want. But it was the fact that, he's a very mysterious backstory. He often talks about, my kind and being of a different breed. And there was sort of a theory is, what if he's not actually human? I mean, bear in mind the WWE has had the Lord of the Undead, a Boogeyman, a Leprechaun, Jason Voorhees with the power to summon fire, and the devil possessing a backwards cultist. So basically, the theory was, and with the whole wolf motif, there was a common fan theory that Baron Corbin was actually a werewolf.
Man, you know what? If this was Lucha Underground, I would happily play up that theory. That might actually be the case if this was Lucha Underground.
Yeah. Well, I actually don't mind, even with NXT, them having, you know, some supernatural. Like I said, they still have it with The Undertaker. They still have it with Bray Wyatt. With WWE being sort of a half fantasy, half mundane sort of storyline, I honestly kind of like it. Like, I like the idea that the demon in Balor isn't just body paint. He's actually channeling a demon. I like stuff like that.
Yeah, they're actually, you know, making characters and actually trying to be a TV show where they create stories.
Speaking of characters, we will get to that because I really want to talk about Sasha Banks.
Guys, please, we're gonna spend all day in the women's championship and the main event because those two matches made this show awesome. But getting back to this match right here, first off, Baron Corbin in this new heel role, I love this anti-indie wrestler gimmick. It works so well. Here's the thing. Because usually most wrestlers in the main roster have this mentality of, oh, when you come to WWE, well, nothing you've done before this matters. That's been done before, but here Baron Corbin makes a better point where he says, I've done NFL, I've done boxing, I've done all this other stuff. Why am I not getting the praise? You know, I've been in front of bigger crowds than these guys have. These guys have busted their asses in front of 15 people in a high school gym. Me? I was in the NFL. I performed in front of thousands before I even got to WWE. If anything else, you should be cheering me because I'm the one that's going to, you know, come in here with more experience. But since these guys I'm not an indie wrestler, you know.
Here's the obvious kayfabe response. You won competitions against football players and martial artists. That's like someone saying, I managed to out-wrestle a 4-year-old child. Because remember, in kayfabe, in the fiction world that wrestling is created, you know, those moves they take, like a DDT or whatever, they're not faking. They're really taking that move. And any normal person, you get DDT'd maybe once, and you're critically injured, if not dead. Wrestlers, they can take moves like that multiple times per week. So in the kayfabe, wrestlers literally are superhuman.
Right, but
they
I
have
still
endurance far beyond what a normal person can do. Not to mention speed. I mean, plenty of them are fast enough that a move like a crossbody, which would be completely ineffectual for most people, is actually a valid tactic because they're fast enough to hit that move before someone else can react to it.
Yeah, but I still feel like his gimmick is the perfect.
Oh, it's definitely a great gimmick, yeah. But you know, the kayfabe answer is like you're pretty much a big fish in a tiny pond. You haven't actually faced the real competition. And Samoa Joe kind of said, you know, when you come up against something who's actually on your level, you crumble.
And that is exactly the story we got tonight with Samoa Joe, who, like, his argument was, hey, yeah, you came from NFL, but they called me here because they know what kind of great guy I am.
Yeah, the exact words were, you had to call them. They called me. They came to me. They asked me. I didn't have to ask them.
There you go. By the way, sorry, what'd you say?
And my voice broke there. Hey, had to call me.
But I really do like Samoa Joe. His new theme song, by the way. I love his new theme song. I have downloaded it. I have killed it. I might be making a mashup of it. I don't know what it's going to be, but I love his new theme song. It is so awesome because I hated the first one. First one was shit. It was terrible.
Well, speaking of mashups, could you do one of the old El Generico theme with Sami Zayn's new theme?
Huh. I didn't think about that. We'll see what happens. That could work. But, you know, Samoa Joe, first off, when it comes to this match, the fact that he had a really, not just a good match, but a really good stiff, almost New Japan Pro Wrestling kind of match with Baron Corbin, it just really gets me excited about this guy because, you know, his indie days have ended, so he can be a full-time NXT WWE wrestler, and I think that's going to be great. So he's going to do a lot more with the company, and they can give him more stuff to work with. But the fact that he went out there and really worked a really good match with Baron Corbin, like what my friend here said, it's still kind of green, but he's getting better. We saw some new stuff from him. He kind of had that Goldberg feel where, you know, he's dishing out new stuff every single time you wrestle. So you can't really prepare for Baron Corbin. The thing about that is Samoa Joe does the exact same thing.
Yeah. I really like the commentary. I think it was Corey Graves, and correct me if I'm wrong. Well, I guess the chat guys can't because I still can't read them. Sorry, everyone. But I really like the comment is that Samoa Joe, you've seen everything he's done. You know, you can definitely prepare a strategy. Baron Corbin, because those matches are only like maybe 5 seconds long, you know, you don't know the full extent of his arsenal. You've basically got, he has a big boot, a snake eyes, and a few punches, and the end of days. That's all you're prepared to counter. So if he uses any of the probably at least 30 other moves that he's got, you don't know that he can do it.
And, you know, that just really makes him much more dangerous because, like you just said, when he's crushing all these guys in 5 seconds, you really don't know, like, okay.
There's nothing to scout. So being the big fish in a small pond actually kind of works to his advantage.
And we saw that in this match. However, the big fish still fell to a bigger fish because Samoa Joe made him, well, I can't say he choked him out because this is WWE. He put him to sleep with the Colita punch.
Just because WWE censors their stuff doesn't mean we have to censor our stuff. He choked him out.
Yeah, he choked the bitch out. He just got choked out. Sorry. Samoa Joe is awesome. Brooklyn received him very well, and I'm excited for what he does in the future. Anything else you want to say?
Now here's the thought. Okay, so I said what I want to do with Samoa Joe versus Uhaa Nation. Now who would be an opponent for Baron Corbin? Oh, what about Ty Dillinger? I mean, Ty Dillinger's been saying, you know, Ty Dillinger, you know, he's doing like, I'm the perfect 10. If you want to prove that you're something, you have to beat me. Here comes Baron Corbin, you know, pissed after losing to Joe. Probably loses a rematch in a few weeks in NXT too. And he's like, kid, beating you isn't much of an accomplishment because I've already done it. And it was easy. So now Tyler's like, I've improved, I've gone better, I am the perfect 10 that I say, and I'm going to prove it. Baron Corbin versus Ty Dillinger. But Ty Dillinger wants to get past those days where he was just the punching bag of everyone, and Baron Corbin wants to make sure that he is just another punching bag because he is going to be at the top of the ladder, roster, whatever.
I'm not actually against that. That actually makes a lot of sense too because like we said, Ty Dillinger is actually growing as a main guy on the roster, or at least NXT. So he could want revenge for Baron Corbin, who squashed him like at least twice already, if not 3 times. So yeah, I think it works just fine. For me, Baron Corbin, that is a good question. I don't know who he would face right now. I would think maybe a returning Hideo Itami if he doesn't go for the World Championship. Who knows? I don't know. That's kind of hard for me. I don't think
Hideo Itami will be returning anytime soon, though. So,
well, he's scheduled to return for the next NXT special around October. So that's
he is. Okay, I thought he was going to be gone until like next year.
Sami Zayn has gone into next year, which hurts.
I thought it kind of applied to both of them. Also, heard an interesting theory about who injured Hideo Itami.
Okay, what is it?
It was his car. His car came to life and just bit him. Spoonie is the Spoonie one, the Wrestle videos. I really should link to them at some point. They are definitely entertaining. It's like, my theory is either the ninjas that seem to follow Samoa Joe attacked him, or his car just came to life and bit him as just playing dumb. Like, I'm gonna get something out of my truck. Nom 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 nom.
Man, you know what? There you go. Maybe Baron Corbin attacked Hideo Itami. Maybe he did. He could. I mean,
said the ninjas that follow Samoa Joe.
Oh, we'll see what happens.
Apparently Samoa Joe has a cortege of ninjas, according to the Spoony one. I didn't know that, but okay. I don't know, probably a TNA gimmick. I don't watch TNA, so I wouldn't know.
All right, man. My fans in the comment section are begging for us, and they're begging for us to talk about the women's championship match. Are you ready?
Yep. And like I said, I have got a lot to say, especially about Sasha Banks and her character development. But first, let's just go over the general match stuff, because my rant is going to be a long one.
So here we go, guys. NXT Women's Championship, introduced by Stephanie McMahon, because why not? Because she's trying to ride that Divas Revolution train, because it makes her look good image. But
even though she's supposed to be a heel. Then again, Triple H is supposed to be a heel.
Don't get me started on the Authority and how fucking inconsistent their characters are. It's another rant for another time. Okay.
Yeah, it would work if it was if they play the character like it's clear that it's fake, because that would actually work for their character. I'm a really like how Triple H kind of was during the whole Daniel Bryan feud. I did this for you, Daniel Bryan. I'm protecting you. I'm making sure you don't get hurt. That really sickening sweet, but it's clear he is full of it. That would work, but yeah, this is just inconsistent.
But first off, Bayley's entrance when she came out with the polka dots, whether it was on her wrist and her headband of polka dots, tribute to Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes. However, in the words of Jim Carrey as Edward Nigma the Riddler, your entrance was good, hers was better. The difference, showmanship.
I cannot believe you just quoted Batman Forever. That was awesome. I actually like that.
Jim Carrey, he's awesome. And that same guy that called me before just called me again, so bear with me 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry to make you wait, everyone.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the match while he's doing what he has to do. So, yeah, guys, Sasha Banks and Bayley came out. They both had great entrances. Sasha Banks' entrance especially was very well done. I really loved her having the car come out. You had her with the bodyguards and them doing what they're going to do, man. It was great. She came out the car. They walked her to the ring. And that's the kind of stuff that makes these matches feel good. It makes it feel special, makes it feel big time. And you won't get that tomorrow on SummerSlam, unfortunately. But then, following the entrances, you had what I would like to call not just a great female match. This match, to me, has to be one of the best matches we've seen this year, period. As in, not just women, but overall, period. Great match from top to bottom. They both worked well with each other. The crowd was into it. Bayley was the freaking, I don't know how to describe it, but she was the one that people want. She was the chosen one. She was the one people wanted to win. Nothing was going to stop them. Sasha Banks, as great as she was
the rising hero.
There you go.
Bayley was the rising hero, the climbing hero.
And did she ever climb to that freaking top of the mountain? But the drama in this match was crazy. I love the spots. Let's talk about a couple of the spots. My favorite spot.
Yeah.
My favorite spot was when Sasha Banks was going to go for whatever that corner double knee thing she does, and Bayley counted it, I think, 2 times, but then she put her on the top rope, and we're all like, oh my God, what the hell is she going to do? Then she jumps over the top rope and then knees her in the gut. That was awesome. And then there was other stuff that Bayley did, including
Gonna have to call you out of that. Okay, so Sasha Banks has a move that involves a line across the turnbuckle, which I really like that move, by the way. And she does it on the top rope. Oh my God, what is she going to do? I don't know. Maybe she's going to grab a cup of coffee. What the hell do you think she's going to do?
Yeah, but what I meant by that was, like, I know she was going to do something with her knees. I was thinking more, my mind works like this. I'm thinking she's going to climb to the top rope, like actually on the top rope, and then fall with her knees on Bayley, which would have been a lot more awesome than what we got, which probably would have actually killed her. So I don't know. My mind is just going.
Yeah.
But that's what I was talking about. But also you got spots like, what was the move Bayley tried to do? It was a belly to belly off the top rope. And then I don't know what happened. She just tried to do something and she fell off. And then fucking Sasha did like some kind of double knee buster to her, and I thought that was the end of the match. The near falls in this match were fantastic.
I would call it a kneeling senton. That's how I would describe that move, a kneeling senton.
Okay, well, a kneeling senton on top of her, and then she hooked her in the big statement a couple of times too, where I'm just like, oh. And then Bayley didn't tap out; she kept rolling, and she actually took
stomping on that hand.
Yeah, she took the brace off her hand and crushed it in the steel steps. And that was it was crazy, man.
Ow. Yeah. Though speaking of damage done to arms, because Sasha Banks seems to have a history of that. Like that match from the last takeover at NXT where she put that arm bar on Becky Lynch and then started standing on the arm. Like it literally looked like Becky Lynch's arm was going to get popped out of the socket from that move. So yeah, Sasha Banks is no stranger to just hurting people's arms. In this case, their hand.
Man, I just love the drama in this match. It just added more and more. And Sasha, by the way, was the perfect heel. First off, she's from Boston. And we know how Boston is accepted here in Brooklyn. That's just whether it's a baseball thing, it's a sports thing, period. But that really added to her heat.
I honestly didn't know there was a rivalry there. Then again, I'm Australian, so...
Yeah, this is an American thing, so just take my word for it. But Sasha Banks... Right, but Sasha Banks really played up her role. She's just such a great personality. The nuances, the small nuances she does, whether it's during a rest hold or during the match, just really kept it more interesting. But the fact that she was talking down Bayley throughout the match, telling her, you suck, you can't do this, and mocking her, and just doing everything she can to let Bayley know that I'm better than you, made it so much sweeter when we got to the end. The ending spot where she did that poison Hurricane Rana off the top rope and followed it with the belly to belly, the belly to Bayley, excuse me. And good God, man, to me, when Bayley hit that pin and the 1-2-3 happened, the crowd was on their feet. Everybody was yelling. It was a glorious moment. Bayley is your new NXT Women's Champion. And I have to say...
And who better for her to beat for that than the rival that's been the bane of her existence from the very start?
What a great story, man. For a year, an entire year, Bayley, ever since the match against Charlotte, I'll say it, she's hit rock bottom. She's lost to people. She's lost to pretty much all her opponents. And then it got to a point where it felt like, I don't think she's going to get back. And then she had that awesome road to redemption when she, came back from that injury, and it was just a sweet moment. This is a great story. What a story, man. Bayley, to me, I'm going to say it, I think she might be the top female in WWE, not just NXT, but WWE right now, based off of this win. I don't see any other reason I would think so, but what a great victory. Classic.
Definitely.
Stuff. And yeah, I'm going to say it. Yeah, man, I'm going to say this might be my match of the night. But how did you feel about this, man? Give us your entire thoughts about this.
Okay. Cool, because now I get to go full wrestling isn't wrestling mode here. Because what I really want to talk about is Sasha Banks' character, and especially the way her face turn worked, and the way it kind of ties back to the very start of her career. Because going into this match, I kind of realized something. Sasha Banks, and Byron Saxton during the match actually touched onto it. Sasha Banks is jealous of Bayley. She has been throughout the very start, because when their career started, Sasha Banks was just like Bayley. She was this wide-eyed, happy to be here, and she was absolutely crushed. Not only was she beaten, not only was she humiliated, but she was manipulated by Summer Rae and pretty much convinced to give up on the person that she was. And then here comes Bayley, the same person that she was, that same bubbly, that same naive, energetic, optimistic, kind-hearted individual that Sasha Banks started off as. But where Sasha Banks was beaten down and felt that she had to change, Bayley didn't change. Bayley kept being the same person, and she was successful. And my God, that had to fill Sasha Banks with just absolute fury. Why did Bayley get to be the happy idiot and still be successful. That isn't how the world works.
Why does everybody like Bayley for being the good girl? Why don't they like me for being the good girl? How come I had to do all this bad girl stuff to be appreciated? Yeah.
Here's the thing. Sasha, the one thing she's always wanted in life is respect, but it's also something she's never, ever been able to have because she doesn't respect herself. She's always had that insecurity. So no matter how much praise she gets, there's this niggling thought in the back of their mind that they don't really mean it. They don't really care about you, Sasha. They're going to ditch you. The only thing you can do is you have to just be tougher and meaner and just nastier than everyone, because all you have is yourself. And that was reinforced further and further from, first of all, the fight between Summer Rae and Charlotte, when Sasha slowly started to realize that Summer Rae was always just using her. Then when Charlotte befriended Bayley, Sasha saw that as a betrayal. That's why she attacked Bayley, not just out of pettiness, but again, it's jealousy. In her mind, Charlotte had turned her back on her, that she had just lost another friend. She was alone. And then with Becky Lynch, again, Becky Lynch turns on her, and Sasha is alone, so she pours herself more into her work. She's going to be the toughest. She's going to be the strongest. First, she has some insecurity, the cowardice she showed during the program with Charlotte leading up to our Revolution. But she buries that. She just becomes a fighter. She's got nothing else but herself. And then this reaches a climax where she's all on her own. She's up against, heels Emma and Dana, people who are just like what she was like with Summer Rae, these cruel mean girls who are fully willing to hurt her, and she's got no one by her side. And then she gets help. Not just help from anyone, but help from Charlotte, a friend that she thought that she had lost for good. Someone that she thought she had driven her away, who probably was never really a friend to begin with, actually offers her help in a time of need, actually forgives her. And if you'll notice, after that moment, after that match, Sasha has a change in personality. It's not overt, but look at the interview when she's, doing the commentary for Bayley versus Becky Lynch. Have you ever seen Sasha so quiet, so humble? She was actually saying that she respects him. Have you ever heard Sasha act like that? Ever?
No, this is the first time we've seen it. But it makes so much sense though when you think about it. Yeah,
because her worldview at that point was rocked. And during the interview, when Sasha Banks says, "Do you think I'm scared, Bayley?" And I realized, she is scared. She's terrified, but she's not scared of Bayley. She's scared of herself, because she's been taught all her life. For all these months, ever since Summer Rae got her claws into her, she's come to believe that kindness equals weakness. If you are nice to people, you make yourself a victim. And now because of that, she's having this change in attitude, and she's scared of it. She's worried that by becoming this nicer person, she's going to make herself weaker. And honestly, I was actually kind of concerned for her, because after the match, if she lost the match, that would actually be confirming those thoughts to her, that, I was a nice person and that made me lose. And, that could have made her go to a full aggression back to the vicious individual that she had become, if not worse. Because deep down, Sasha Banks is not a bad person. She's not like Alexa Bliss or Summer Rae, who are simply cruel, but she has been making a lot of bad decisions with how she's handling herself. And then we come to the end. Sasha Banks, her worst fear has come true. All right? She has lost her title. She has lost her match. She tried everything. And Bayley, this symbol of, I am everything you were in the past, except I didn't have to change. I stayed true to us, and I was still successful. I still was better than you. And not only that, Becky Lynch and Charlotte, her two friends, are embracing Bayley. A weaker woman would have snapped at that. Instead, what does Sasha Banks do? She lets go. She forgives Bayley. She forgives herself and embraces her. You have no idea the strength of character that would require, and I am so proud of her for doing that.
And it really, again, like you said, it makes so much sense, because if we're going off of that story, Sasha Banks was a wrestling fan at heart. You know, she grew up from with a street mentality of, I have to do what I can to get to the top. But then when you see someone like Bayley, like you just said, who actually, in a sense, became the person she wanted to be, Sasha realized that, you know what, maybe there is a path that can be taken where I can be that good girl and make it to the top. Because like you said, if anything else, Bayley is exactly what Sasha Banks wants to be. So I agree with you when you said that she's actually jealous, and she was jealous of her. But man, it's, you know what, it's a great match. Go ahead.
With the interview after NXT Rival, when, you know, Sasha Banks has a chance, like, you know, how do you feel? And she's been all, you know, Sasha Banksy, and then, you know, Renee pretty much breaks out everything like, okay, I know how Sasha Banks feel, but let's get your, you know, let's get your thoughts. And she just breaks down crying. And I actually like to think that even that was in character, because again, a lot of her viciousness, it's always clear that it's definitely a mask. It's something to cover up a whole bunch of insecurities.
Yeah, man, it's this is a lot of great stuff going on here. I am calling this the match of the night. What do you think?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, just for story stuff alone, I'm going to call it the match of the night. Maybe I'm looking maybe with all this stuff with Sasha Banks, you and I are looking too deep into it. But it's more plausible with NXT, because, well, this stuff has happened over a shorter period of time, like the wrestling's wrestling, where, you know, you're trying to find continuity from stuff between, you know, the early 90s and, you know, the late 2000s. And also, fuck it, it's fun to look deeply into stuff. It's fun to read too much into it.
Because you can't do this with the main roster. Sorry, you couldn't do this with the main roster, so might as well do it here with NXT, where there is actually a story, and you can actually do that kind of stuff. You can look at the intricacies.
But that's what I love about NXT. The characters are characters. The problem with wrestling, I'm not going to just blame for the main roster. The problem with wrestling just in general, there's often been very few characters and more just alignment. A character will simply be whatever alignment he is now. You're either the good guy or you're the bad guy. And if you're the good guy, you'll do all the good guy stuff until you suddenly switch over to being the bad guy, and then you'll break everyone and do every bad guy thing because you're the bad guy. Here's your stamp.
Yeah, there has to be a reason for you to be the bad guy. Like Kevin Owens attacking his best friend from behind and putting him out of action to take his championship. That is what bad guys do. You hate someone like that. Sasha Banks mocking people, stealing their taunts, and then slapping them across the face. That's like despicable. You need some real reason to be hated. And we get that in NXT and in other companies, but not in WWE.
In fact, I was actually thinking, I had a random thought the other day, which is one of the things that a lot of wrestlers do is that when they're the heels, they try their best to make sure that they're never cheered at all. You know, they make sure they don't get a single cheer. But here's the thing. There's always going to be at least one fan that cheers you. Hell, if you're in the main roster, if you're going to be taken as a serious threat to, say, a champion, you're going to have to be a badass. And no matter the alignment, people are going to cheer a badass. Hell, evil is cool is a very common trope. The trick is not to make sure that no one ever boos you. The trick is to make sure that they cheer the face more.
Because the job of the heel is to make the baby face look better. And you're right. You're right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Man, this is a lot of great stuff we're going to talk about. But, man, I really would like to get to this main event. You ready to get to it?
Yep.
So, Kevin Owens versus Finn Balor, Demon Finn Balor, Demon Finn Balor in a ladder match to close off the show. And, of course, this is ROH territory, so, of course, Kevin Owens got received big time. And, you know, I have to say, man, Kevin Owens in NXT is
the biggest thing that wrestling has ever had to a full-on magnificent bastard.
Yeah.
because he's a guy he's a genuinely brilliant strategist. You see, most wrestlers that are called, great strategists, their strategy pretty much revolves around, they're good at cheating. With Kevin Owens, he's actually a manipulator outside the ring. He pulls the strings, and that's what I really enjoy about him. Plus, he's a brilliant troll.
On top of that, everything that he does wrong, he'll tell people that I'm doing it for my son, which makes it even more like, oh, you son of a bitch. Why would you being a father, you think you would do something honorable? Like, nope, I'm going to break every single rule and then say, I'm doing it for my son.
Which is actually a bit of a fridge troll, because you've got this violent sociopath of a man, and yeah, I'm not convinced that he doesn't have let's just say I don't think that living with some man like that would be pleasant. I wouldn't be surprised if his son, came in wearing a John Cena t-shirt, if Kevin Owens reacted somewhat violently.
His son's favorite character is John Cena, so maybe there's been a couple of those episodes. Yeah. That would have been very interesting. But let's get back to the match here, man. First off, Finn Balor's entrance, I'm going to say, is the best entrance in wrestling. Not just WWE. He has the best entrance in wrestling, period. And
now, I love the clone Balor stuff they did. That was really creative. And I'm glad he got rid of the wings, because I like the spines. I like the eye, definitely because, reference to the Eye of Balor. That was a great mythology gag. Well, mythology nod, not so much a gag, but anyway. But the wings, I just wasn't feeling them.
I liked all his get up so far, so
yeah. Now, before we get into the match itself, I want to talk about Finn Balor as a champ, because I think you were saying during your preview and predictions that you noticed that Finn Balor's okay as a champion, but you're not feeling him as much as Kevin Owens, right?
The thing is, when it comes to Finn Balor, I feel like he has all the tools to be a top, really, really great wrestler, top wrestler in WWE. But I feel like he needs something in terms of his character, whether it's advancement, like maybe instead of just being Demon Finn Balor, he has different personalities like Joker Finn Balor.
It's not quite that. Yeah. If I may, I'd like to go into my thoughts on the weakness that Finn Balor has at the moment.
Go for it, man.
But first of all, however, see, I'm about to say something which is going to make every person on the internet who watches wrestling want to strangle me. Therefore, before I say anything else, I'm going to create a protective bunker around myself. You ready?
Go for it.
Finn Balor is pretty much the Roman Reigns of NXT. Hear me out. What I mean by this is Finn Balor, though he's not quite in as bad a position as Roman Reigns was, he's kind of got the same problem that Roman Reigns had when he won the Royal Rumble, which is he's being put into a storyline where he doesn't quite belong. See, the big problem with Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble, the big problem, I also think the hate that Roman Reigns got was due to WWE just fucking with so many things that when they made this mistake with him, it was like the straw that broke the camel's back, and all that hatred just got poured onto him. However, Roman Reigns and Finn Balor had that same problem where the storyline going into the World Championship was about Daniel Bryan. He'd been screwed out of the Authority. He was having to, come back and reclaim it, and then, okay, let's drop it, and here's some other guy, and that other guy happened to be Roman Reigns. With Finn Balor, though nowhere near as bad, it's kind of a similar position. The story was always about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And for Finn Balor to come and be the one to beat Kevin Owens, it's like, it's all right. I like Finn Balor, but it feels disappointing. We were hoping to see the big showdown between Owens and Zayn. It's like, I kind of again, going back to Roman Reigns, I kind of compared the story of, imagine you read a story about this great hero training to fight and slay this dragon, And, you got behind the hero, you followed the story, and then in the final chapter it went, and then the hero went home to get some tea. Meanwhile, some other knight killed the dragon. The end. That's Roman Reigns in the Royal Rumble. He's that some other guy. With Finn Balor, it'll be like, let's say you were reading the story about, the hero, the knight trying to save the dragon, and the knight also had a friend who show up occasionally, and the knight twists his ankle and the friend decides to do it for him. It's like, you can kind of see it's all right, but at the same time, you were hoping the first knight would say that, because that's the guy you've been following. That's the guy who'd been getting the build-up. And again, Kevin Owens had that personal touch to him. One, he was a great manipulative evil heel, but there was also an anticipation of that big showdown. With Finn Balor, you don't really get that. And that's why, while as a character he's fine, story-wise, he's just not as compelling.
That might be a problem. Sorry, what was that?
I'm just saying to the fans, be gentle when you burn down my house.
By the way, I can't protect you with all the heat you get, man. Just realize what you just said. You literally.
I can't read the comments now, but I'm guessing they're going fucking insane.
You got a couple of haters here. I'm not gonna lie. Jeez.
Okay, now I wish I could read the comments, because feed me your rage, fans. Feed me your rage.
Well then you go. That's Luna Carver for you guys. If you wanna, take your pitchforks wherever to his house. Yeah. Just know.
I will just say as a disclaimer, comparing Finn Balor to Roman Reigns is not a slight on Finn Balor's talent in any way. It's talking about the position that he was in. See, I like Roman Reigns. I always feel that Roman Reigns, it wasn't about him being a bad talent. It was about wrong person at the wrong time.
Right.
Again, Roman's biggest problem was that he was inserted into a storyline where he just didn't fit. And Finn Balor, though to a far lesser extent, because he'd had some history with Kevin Owens, it's kind of the same weakness. That's why he's you don't quite feel as enthralled by him as champion. At least why I don't, and perhaps why you don't. Enthralled by him as champion as you did with Kevin Owens as champion or Adrian Neville as champion.
Yeah, here's my thing when it comes to Finn Balor, and just to pick up where you left off. Finn Balor, to me, when we first started this whole thing with Kevin Owens and he first came and took that championship away, a lot of fans wanted Sami Zayn to be the guy to take that championship away from him, because it's kind of like you're just tying it into your story. The hero at the beginning of the story was Sami Zayn, and
that's exactly what I've been saying. Yeah,
and Finn Balor came in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sami Zayn is that hero that you're all behind, and Finn Balor is that side character who ends up winning the day anyway. It's like, okay, that's all right. It's not terrible. It's actually pretty good, but I wanted to see the hero win. He's the guy we've been following.
But when it comes to Finn Balor, like I said before, it's not like he can't get better. I think with enough material and with the right material and the right people to work with, he'll get better. Absolutely. I think he just needs to find whatever his character's missing. I hope he finds it. I can't really put my finger on it necessarily. Maybe it is what I thought. Maybe it is the fact that he just needs more than just being demon. Maybe he needs to add more personalities, or I don't know. But getting to the match itself, my only issue with this match, because it was a really good match, and I'm not taking anything away from either performer. Owens was great. Balor was great. I personally feel like they didn't use the ladders enough. I kind of feel like it was like, maybe 4 spots with ladders, which were crazy spots, by the way. He did a freaking drop kick off the announcer's table to Kevin Owens, and then Owens got...
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that that knee injury he got, that was a legit injury, because a good way I've heard to tell if an injury is legit or not is, does the opponent try to work the injury? If they do, then yeah, that was a scripted thing for the match. If not, then it's like, yeah, this is an actual injury because the only reason he wouldn't be working that leg is because, Fergal Devitt actually got hurt, and Kevin Steen does not want to risk, exasperating the injury, the legitimate injury.
Yeah, it was more of a
Speaking
stinger.
of potential legitimate injuries, when Kevin Owens falls off the ladder and whacks his head on the back of the thing, thank God for padding.
That was a brutal spot. I remember that was nuts. There was one spot that he was going to do, I think it was a fisherman buster from the top of the ladder onto a second ladder. The idea of that was brutal because he actually did that in, was it ROH or was it PWG? I don't remember which match it was. But he did that spot before. So I know how brutal it can be. But
it's just the thought of it is brutal.
I just really think this match could have been a lot better if they utilized the ladders more. I can tell they were trying to play it safe, and maybe it is because Balor hurt himself a little bit earlier in the match. I think, like you said, because of that stinger, they wanted to take it a little bit safer, and they didn't go all out. So maybe you're right. Maybe that's the reason why. Wherever the case is, I don't.
It's quite possible, but. Speaking of uses of the ladder, that senton onto the ladder, Jesus Christ on a cracker from space! That looked like it killed.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal, man. But overall, man, I still feel like it was a great match. Favorite spot of the night was the coup de grace off the ladder. Jeff Hardy-esque jump, Jeff Hardy-esque kind of dive, and
yeah, it's like speaking to like Jeff Hardy when he did the thing, I honestly thought he might actually go for a swanton just like as a tribute.
Man, but I do like the fact that these guys went out there and did what they could to entertain the audience. Overall, I'm happy with it. Finn Balor walked out as NXT champion, and hopefully over the next few months, he actually finds whatever he's missing, and he becomes the full package that I know he can be. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. So, two things concerning this match. First, when Finn Balor was up on that ladder, the title was a few inches too far. I was hoping that he would actually jump for it, grab the rope holding the title, and just hold on to it and untie it like that.
Ooh, that would have been a nice spot, but because I was thinking about what would they do to follow up with that. Well, what he can do if he does that spot, he'll fall down. Owens will catch him and powerbomb him. That would have been pretty sick. I actually like that idea.
Yeah, and the second thing is now that Kevin Owens has lost his rematch, what do you think is next for Kevin Owens? How would you book what Kevin Owens does next? Because I've got my own idea. I'd like to hear yours first.
Honestly, this clearly indicates that he might be getting a victory tomorrow night against Cesaro. Where I go from there is a championship contendership feud, maybe with Cesaro or maybe Randy Orton or maybe all three. But definitely Kevin Owens should be put in a spot to get a championship. I think that's the next goal because my goal, if you guys have seen any of my WrestleMania videos, I want Kevin Owens to be the guy to take that championship away from Cena. And then he could be the heel U.S. champion that WWE needs. And then we can set up a Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens feud around WrestleMania, which is that is the perfect story to tell with Kevin Owens right now. That's for me. What about you?
Definitely see it. It's probably something similar, but I actually would have Kevin Owens lose to Cesaro. I would have Kevin Owens pretty much spiral down into, obviously, he's been beaten, he's done, he's gone, and to quote the words of Abridged Frieza from Dragon Ball Z Abridged, after that I'll disappear from LA and make them wonder if I ever existed to begin with, just to come back and kill them all. So Owens disappeared, or maybe even turns face, but he's biding his time. He comes back, and when he returns, he makes the carnage he caused when he started look like child's play, look like something from kindergarten by comparison. Owens will just snap. He'll go full on tranquil fury. It's like you're brutal, you're violent, destructive, but you do it all with just a complete serenity about you.
I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I'm just happy. I'm just happy as a wrestling fan to be able to enjoy a show like this. Here's the ultimate question. Here's the number one thing that we're gonna, bring an ending to when it comes to the actual show. What happened? Everything okay?
Oh, I just dropped something. Yeah, I just dropped something.
Oh, you made me think something crazy happened. But here's the big question.
When I went like that, no, I was just selling the ultimate question.
Do you think SummerSlam stands any chance of meeting this show when it comes to how great it is? Because quite frankly, dude, I think SummerSlam is in deep shit when it comes to NXT and TakeOver,
The match quality is going to be good because the WWE has a ton of talent. I don't care either way because the booking for it has been atrocious. I said this to X-Men before the chat started. I'm actually not going to watch SummerSlam. If the WWE can't do their job right create and book matches that are actually going to get me enticed to it based on the story, the character stuff that Vince McMahon himself said, this is the most important stuff. If you can't do that right, then I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to make the same mistake I did with WrestleMania 31, where it's like, oh, okay, the booking going into it and out of it was horrible, with the exception of, Seth Rollins winning the World Championship, because even I will admit that was genius. But other than that, booking going into WrestleMania was terrible. The booking going out of WrestleMania was terrible. But our matches there were great, and the WWE writers go, yay, that means we can pretty much put any two guys together and the fans will cheer. We don't have to do work. The wrestlers can do it for us, and we'll just take all the cred. No. If you want me to watch your shows, you're going to have to do your job. Sorry, wrestlers, I know you're going to put on a great performance, but I'm not making the same mistake I did with WrestleMania 31.
And I'm right there with you, man. SummerSlam to me just seems like it's not going to live up to what NXT is tonight. And honestly, this was SummerSlam for me. This show, this is SummerSlam. Tomorrow is the after party. It's the after show. And we'll get into that. When that show happens, you'll get my reaction, my review afterwards. But quite frankly, I'm not going to necessarily miss SummerSlam, but if I don't watch it, I'm not going to be all uptight or upset about it because, quite frankly, NXT gave me the wrestling show that I really wanted this weekend. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. Also, I think NXT has reached the point now where they need to start repeating their pay-per-view names. As in, instead of having, every takeover has a different name, I think now is when they start actually having their, recognized pay-per-views. Like, make our Evolution, because it's the one that's got the most history, their equivalent to WrestleMania, their big end of season show. Have maybe, a rival be their first, actually start getting some recognition in the name. So it's not just, so more than just, okay, here's TakeOver, let's build a big TakeOver, here's the TakeOver, here's our Evolution, here's our big one.
So, and with that said, man, I think we're going to go ahead and give our grade for the show now. So from A, B, C, D, and F, what grade would you give NXT TakeOver in Brooklyn?
Normally I'm kind of stingy with this sort of thing, but screw it, I'm giving it an A grade.
And I am right there with you. I think we had nothing below a good match. If I'm going with stars, everything was 3 stars and higher.
Yeah.
2 strong main events, and that to me determines if anything goes from a B to an A are the main events. The main events were built up extremely well, and both of them delivered, especially the women's match. So right there, I agree with you. This show gets an A.
Something I forgot to say about the ladder match.
What's that?
Is I love how NXT, they hold tight with their gimmick matches. In the main roster, it's just these 2 people are going to be fighting in a ladder match. With NXT, these 2 people are going to be fighting in a ladder match. Something similar as a ladder match is made to feel so much more important because they hold back on it. They don't overexpose something like that. They don't overuse it.
They don't make pay-per-views out of it to where we're expecting it to happen and make it mean less.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
It's an old school mentality that really deserves to stay around. That should never have been lost. That's what I like about NXT. It's a combination of new innovation, but also bringing back old ideas.
And that's a testament to Triple H. And show was great, but hey, man, before we go, let's read some of the comments. Can you read the comment section?
Still can't. I'm sorry.
This is weird. Well, I'm gonna read the comments, and then you can react to them for how they are. How about that? So, guys, I mean,
Awesome.
I'm getting ready to read your comments now. So
yeah, sorry everyone that I can't read them.
Yeah, I want to see. I want to see how many people you pissed off when you compared Roman Reigns and Finn Balor. Jesus Christ!
I had the bunker for a reason.
All right, but we'll see what happens here, guys. So,
Which I just left the bunker. Oh crap!
Yeah, you're out in the open now, so here it comes. Perfect 10. Someone gave this show an A+. Wow, that's good to know, man.
Won't quite call it a perfect 10, but people always forget this. An 8 or a 9 is still a really, really good performance.
Yeah, I mean, not everything can be fucking 5 stars, and nothing's wrong with being 4 stars. It's still good.
Hell, I would actually say right now, it is physically impossible to have every match be a 5-star because by the 3rd 5-star match, you'd be so exhausted that you wouldn't have the energy to cheer anymore.
Yeah, there has to be.
So the next match could be equally as good, but the fans would just be all going blah because, there's no lull in the action. They haven't had the time to rest.
That is a good theory. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, each match might be 5 stars, but will they all feel like a 5-star if they all feel the exact same? I kind of get where you're coming with that. That's true. I agree with that. I got shivers when Bayley, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch hugged each other inside the ring. Did we get shivers? Yeah, it was a crazy moment. I loved seeing.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah,
and like I said, it made me worried at first because again, here's 2 of Sasha Banks's old friends, and they're embracing, her rival, the person she sees as, the anti-her, and again, the fact that she put that all behind her. That she joined with it. So yeah, wonderful moment.
Yeah, man. We have someone defending you actually, because apparently you did get some heat for comparing Romeo's. Like, you want to read the heat comments you got really quickly just to be fun?
Yes, I want to see the hatred.
Okay.
Give me the good stuff. Give me the good stuff. In fact, see if we can get some death threats. I'm trying to win because I'm trying to win a game of death threat bingo.
Well, the biggest threat you got is this guy is annoying as fuck. That's like the biggest threat you got, and that's because you compared Roman Reigns to Finn Balor, and those kind of comments. I'm just like, well, guys, really,
To be fair, I am annoying as fuck. It's something I cultivate.
I thought you made a good point with what you were saying, so I don't really think that you deserve to be called annoying as fuck. But let's look at some other hate comments you got here. I'm reading I'm trying to read for a seriously, I hate this guy. And here we go. Oh God, I hate this guy. Right there.
I love you too. What's his name?
WWE Divas House. WWE Divas House. That's who wrote that.
I love you too, mate. I love you too. Give me a hug.
And we got tell this guy he's very irritating comment. Yeah, man.
I know I can't be overly bombastic, so that probably pisses some people off.
Yeah. But guess what, man? You also have some guests. You have someone named Eric Scampoli guy, how you say his name. He says he's a big fan of you. He says I like this guest. So there you go. You got some fans out there, man.
Thank you. Well, annoying or not, I always try to at least be entertaining.
Entertaining and you get good points. That's what really matters, man. I freaking hate this guy. That's from the same guy. That's from WWE Divas House. He really hates you. He might actually follow you to your house. I don't know what this is all about.
We shall have such sweet conversations over tea, and then we shall get married and have a beautiful wedding in a lovely flower field. I want that hug, damn it!
Are you familiar with my best friend Preston?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, Wrestling Paradise. This guy.
Oh, I've actually seen some of Wrestling Paradise. Yeah, I liked his review of WrestleMania 22 because that was a pay-per-view that I enjoyed.
Okay, well, yeah, we have someone who compared you to Preston in saying that fans gave Preston a hard time when he was on my channel, and they did. I don't think they're giving you as much of a hard time, but they hated Preston. But overall, they grew to love him. It's just the whole idea of, you know, they want me and only me, and they don't want anybody else kind of taking that spotlight. But I'm the kind of guy that likes to share the spotlight because this is the only way we're going to improve the community. You know what I'm saying?
Besides, we have someone to bounce off. We have someone to bounce off of. You can actually explain your views a lot better because, you know, you say something, someone says something that challenged your viewpoint, and you then go into more detail and more depth as you try to think of a counterpoint.
Right, and that's what builds a community, not people saying, "Oh, you suck. You're not a good wrestling fan because you don't agree with me." It's just no. You're supposed to have your own views. You're supposed to give your own points, and if you can't agree, just agree, disagree. But the whole idea is to talk about wrestling. Okay, this one really wants me to tell you what she said, and it's a female wrestling fan called No You're Right Chick, and she wants me to tell you that you're a wuss for what you said with Roman Reigns and Finn Balor, because Finn Balor is her favorite wrestler. Well, she's not his favorite wrestler, but one of her favorite wrestlers on NXT. So there you go.
Thanks. I will say first that, again, not actually saying that as an insult to Balor. I was talking about the circumstance that he was in.
Yeah, I think we made that point, but Roman Reigns and Finn Balor, apparently you just pretty much crossed the line.
I knew the fans would want to kill me.
But it's not everybody either. It's a couple. But
to be honest though, I'm pretty much applying Poe's law to most of this stuff. I think most of this stuff know that. Most of these comments, I'm pretty sure they're not actually angry. They're just they're overblowing the reaction just to play along with the joke, with the whole, you know, I have to construct a protective barrier around myself joke. I doubt anyone is really that angry.
So, well, here's the thing, man. It's just, my thing is, I'm not just doing this because, you know, oh, you paid me for Patreon. No, I really want to expose wrestling fans to what's out there. Because a lot of wrestling fans tell me, Deluxe, man, all I watch is you. All I watch is just, you know, what you do. And I appreciate it. Thank you. But there are so many other wrestling fans, wrestlers, people with a great mind for wrestling out there. And I think Luda Carver is one that I think you guys should definitely check out. So as we bring this...
I don't really have much wrestling-related stuff on my channels, so...
Well, let me ask you this. Are you willing to do it now, since you've done some wrestling stuff here?
You know, that wouldn't actually be a bad idea. I need to get a proper camera. Then again, I guess I could use my webcam in the meantime. So, hell, why not? I might actually... Remember that thing I did on, you know, how I will book 2014? Perhaps I could make that into a video.
Dude, hey, you got the exposure. Make use of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, man.
Falling into place.
Okay, man. Before we close this out, any final thoughts? Anything else you want to say? Anything you would like to note in terms of NXT? Anything about wrestling? Anything you want to talk about before we close this thing out?
Not really. No.
Well, man, I have to say I enjoyed this review with you. I think, again...
Likewise.
This was a very storytelling kind of review. You know, it is good to recap once in a while, but it's also good to speculate. Like, where do we go from here? What did this mean? What did we get out of these matches? Because wrestling ultimately is a story, and everybody has their own story based off of what they saw. And I enjoy talking about this story here, NXT in Brooklyn, an A show definitely. If you have not seen it, well, you pretty much did see if you watched this review. But down below in the comment section, man, give us your thoughts. How did you feel about the show? What did you think about what we said? Give your death threats to Luna Carver for comparing Roman Reigns and Finn Balor, if you must.
Make sure they're varied. I'm going to win that game of death threat bingo, damn it.
But
bonus point to anyone who can threaten to stab me with an orange.
Stab him with an orange. Guys, thank you for joining me. It's been a great night. We're ready to sign off. Luna Carver, thank you for joining me, man. But this is your boy Deluxe, man, and Luna Carter are signing off. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Ciao.